takes all night, but before we do that, let's crash into that. We can do it right if it takes all night, but before we do that, let's crash into that. We can do it right if it takes all night, but before we do that, let's crash into that. We can do it right if it takes all night, but before we do that, let's crash into that. Let's crash into that. Let's crash into that. Let's crash into that. Kimmy 65 is live. Music by Wikipedia. Crash into that. Let's go. Oh 07. And we are back. Oh yeah. Make some adjustments here. 1 second. Drawer. Table. Okay. Make some adjustments on these sticks. Okay.
Looking for some hand minables, capture some blueprints. I think this is pertaining to the vault weapons, so be able to craft vault weapons with these blueprints once I acquire them. But it's a hefty mission. It's paying over 100K. See here. Okay, I'm looking for Aphorite, Dolivine, and Hadanite. Respectively. 80, 125. About to get out on foot. I can pick up some anomalies. Touch down here when I get close to that ridge. Landing gear down. It's already down. Okay. Start looking around. investigate the area. Touchdown. Let me level her out. All right. All right. Get this mission underway. Get some investigation going. Adequately have adequate hydration. Yeah, it's definitely cold. Might do some scouting with the pit bull. Go ahead and open the hatch. Ramp. Utilize the pit bull. I have to be on foot. This op underway. 07. All right. Oh no. What's going on? No power?
Your systems are offline. Welcome aboard your Drake interplanetary craft. Welcome aboard your Drake interplanetary craft. Your systems are offline.
Let me off that 4 real quick. Refresh it. Launch. I had the ship stored for quite a bit, so I'm wondering if it kind of fell asleep, basically. It does acknowledge that it's activated, but visually you don't see the power on. So let's see. I refresh it. Get a better handshake with the servers. And then I'm going to reactivate the pit bull. Activate the pit bull. Let's go. Let's go.
07. 07.
Oh, 07, man. 07. Let's go. Oh, yeah.
All right. What's happening, Captain? Let's make it happen. Let's make it happen, Captain. Let's make it happen, Captain. All right, come on.
Let's go. Let's go. I'm in the queue. Wakey, wakey. But looks like the way things are shaping itself. This is my gut talking. So there was, I believe there's a certain priority that they need to work on, or based on their queue of what's needed to be done, the devs are pushing the narrative to get that done. They're pushing it, say, okay, I've achieved all of these things, what's next? So in lieu of the fact that we're moving towards 1.0, and then the unforeseen event was the fact that DefenseCon was too damn successful, and it really broke the levee per se. It broke the levee broke because it was such an influx of people curious about DefenseCon. It wasn't your staple of, okay, this is the May event, the military-backed event. So it wasn't that. It was DefenseCon. And it had a different feel, a different vibe. It was also introducing new ships. And the fact that they recently added crafting to everything else, being able to find items, blueprints, crafting machines, ships that will eventually allow you to craft items, and you know you're going around finding different elements needed to craft a blueprint. Through playing the game, you would attain it by mission accomplishments. So all of those elements came into play. Invictus. That's what I wanted to say. Invictus was not Invictus this year. It was definitely DefenseCon. A total different vibe. It was a totally different dynamic. The result, it brought in so many people to the point where CIG was not ready for that. Uh, so they thought the system was robust enough to handle things, but a 67% influx of players, uh, no, that's the moment that hit and became a reality. And on top of that, you're adding new features. You're continuing the narrative to complete or move towards 1.0. And with that said, with 1.0, 07 Scuba Steve, aka Captain Steve, it's a situation. So, in regards to movement towards 1.0, to me, it felt like the development was in a holding pattern because they had the big ticket items coming down the line, because we definitely needed the server meshing tech, which through instancing, they realized, okay, we to kind of not kill everything in the game and break everything, we need the instancing, which then becomes a derivative. Out of that will be a derivative of that. Well, the derivative of the instancing would be the quasi server meshing tech. So you can't go full on dynamic meshing until you know you have dynamic meshing in your wheelhouse. It's stable, it's viable, it's doing what it's supposed to do. So instancing is a way and a means for them to kind of, okay, before we set off with this, we can use instancing to help with the heavy influx. It's, you hear them say, well, it's not to have gameplay mechanics disturbed by people arbitrarily or intentionally jumping into the game and kind of pre-interacting with items that shouldn't be interacted with, because you have a group or a number of people in the game and they've yet to come upon these points or POIs, points of interest in the game. So instancing will help to not just streamline, but make sure that that mission is played to its fullest to its potential, basically the way it was designed, without any disturbance or any breakage, barring any bugs, right? So that in itself proved to be, well, we might have to make some changes because of scaling issues. You were busy with the 250 party, and so many elements are coming together, and I think it's just a matter of what is breaking the game. We really have to make it a priority, but at the same time, we have a boatload of features coming down the pipeline. You're gonna have Intergalactic Aerospace Expo coming in November. So it looks like they're going to segment 4.9 and 4.10, split them apart, which makes sense, so they can fractionally bring in new updates and potentially fix them, and then move on to the next stage of the patch, which is 4.10, and do the same thing until they get a good handle on potentially scaling the game. It needs to scale, and that's it's throwing everything off. But with that said, they have steps, they have procedures, they have stop gaps into that will allow them to see what's necessary. Now, whether it goes to plan or not, it's more of this. They just need to be able to pivot in case what they placed into the game is not fully the answer. So it's more about multiple solutions to this, which it has to be, because Granted, as we move forward to 1.0, as we get closer to that milestone, the features are going to be larger and larger and more complex. So it's my hope that because these features are so dense and so complex, that it will make, you know, cleaning bugs up a priority, or it could potentially wipe all pre-existing or legacy code because of the new features that are coming in. So I would say the perfect storm to this is, with fingers crossed, is that the new features will pretty much overwrite all the legacy issues or things that were placeholders. They're going away, and the newer features, the more foundational parts of the features for these patches towards 1.0 will overwrite all the legacy issues, and then it may present new sets of problems, or it may just pan out and play nice with everything else in the game. So it's one of those things you just have to wait and see where things will land, literally. But it's the new norm. It's something we're not going to get away from. I mean, that's the milestone is 1.0, but we are going to go beyond 1.0. And so I guess the overall process is, if we can feature complete it, that's just to say that all things from Squadron 42, all the things 1.0, they're in the game. And that doesn't mean they're going to stop there. But I think it would be a pausing point to say, okay, now with the newer features that are coming down the line, and things we want to refine, then they could take their time, and then also they can change that process altogether, and like kind of do like a tech preview of it and keep it running for a bit until it is logically figured out, it's goal standardized, and it's stable, and only then bring it over to PTU. And then once it's in PTU, give it its moment to kind of breathe due to influx of player interaction and scaling. And beyond that, then it's ready for live. I think it would be a great change of process for CIG once they've hit 1.0, and like major features just take their time. If you're close to feature complete, then just keep refining the game and just let people play. As long as they're playing and you see high concurrency of people playing because you have a feature complete game, but there's always going to be more ideas down the line, then I think it would be to CIG's advantage to just slow it down and just really take their time with updating these new features, and also at the same time engaging the community to test it and long-term test it as a tech preview. And then eventually, once everyone is satisfied on both sides of the fence, that's community that play the game and the CIG development teams, they're all happy that everything's working fine, and then just from there, just push it to PTU and then live. To PROD, to production. Push all the new code to production. Yeah, I think, but you know, that's the thing. I think because of not just 1.0, but with the level of features, with this complexity and how the broad scope of these features and how it's going to touch everything, and everything has to play nice together. Either they can go all in, or they can do fractional, slow, methodical updates. I would say the perfect blending of the two would be utilize the PTU or not the I'm sorry, utilize the tech preview channel more so than the PTU. PTU is for the PTU build for should be for the features that are closer to going live, right? But with the tech preview, it's more of adding everything potentially and seeing how they interact with each other, if they play nice or not, dial some things back, bring things forward sooner than later. But eventually, the key of it is, or the concept of it is, tech preview would be the closest thing to a feature complete version of Star Citizen. But it's potentially, because of that, it could be its most buggiest ever. But to know ahead of time as opposed to being reactive, being reactive is not what you want. You want to be proactive. And I think tech preview is more proactive as opposed to reactive to what we're experiencing right now. And it's not to say, oh wow, CIG, you're messing things up. It's just to say this is truly the development, the cutting edge side of development. As we see, we're adding new features and an engine. We're watching and witnessing an engine being built right in front of our faces, but at the same time, we're able to play it. So in that instance of playability, separate playability from development. But at the same time, because of what Star Citizen is, because of the nature of this beast, it's all encompassing due to its really realistic scale. There's nothing that's really been done. Is you can count on your left pinky how many games have this type of scale, this complexity, and at the same time you're developing it while you're playing it too. You can count on your left pinky how many games are like that out there. So because we all understand that concept and its process, more so, even more so, rip the Band-Aid off and call it tech preview. That's what it is, the rip Band-Aid. Because at some point you're going to have to put all these features in a room and they have to duke it out. Basically, that's my analogy to it. They got to get into a room and there's going to be tryouts and the cream will rise to the top. And so you just basically have a big pot of stew, which is the engine, and you got to let it simmer and cook and marinate all together. Because if you're fractionally adding things at a slow drip, the impact is pushing the timeline, this invisible, this timeline that's the boogeyman. And it's like this fear or a Father Time is on this project. And I think that's what the aches and pains of the community, what they're feeling is like, hey, we're 12 plus years in, and I want to be able to sit down with my friends and really get into this and really put good years into this, not just the testing aspect. So with that said, if we're going to test, let's go all in and test. This is just my opinion, but you are going to find out it's better, in my opinion, it's better, what do you say, sooner than later, right? I'd rather find out sooner than later. And the best way is to just get those features into a tech preview channel and keep it there and see how it works out with as many features as you can get. CIG, I mean, we know that the development side of it, those concepts, they're not done, but when it comes to the platform, the foundation that's all things Star Engine, I think maybe there could be a team that could get those features in, as many as possible in. I don't know. I honestly, I would say they're probably they don't have everything in because of what it entails as far as a task and what it touches. But I would say, uh, as a process, uh, attack it head on and as I don't want to say quickly as possible, but as soon as it's viable, where it's working, a working concept of it, and if it's not going to break everything, if that's possible, it would be a great candidate for tech preview and keep it there and work on things within tech preview as a team. I would say like um, Benoit's mentioned, Chris has mentioned a hero team. Give that vested team more of, hey, here's the tech preview. These are all the features within it. Have at it. Work on it in your free time. And I would say it would be a great um, incentivize. I would incentivize it if I was Chris. Incentivize it with people who are uh, wanting to learn, quick to learn, wanting to move up, incentivize it, and allow them to collaborate together organically as far as the tech preview, and then coming back to what is live and PTU. You're working under the project managers, but the hero teams, it would be pretty good because, in a way, you think about it, is that not what they did with Squadron 42, where it has its own features, right? And then they went in and did their own thing and basically put everything together, work together, and they have a finished product. And I would say, why not the tech preview with the newer features in the persistent universe? Captain, Captain. Some of us are already doing that. What do you mean? We're gonna be. Some of us already are. Don't start anything, man. We can't finish. Yes. Diapers. Some of us are in diapers, man. We wish we could, but some of us are in diapers right now. Okay? If you want to, truth be told, some of us are in diapers. Grown people's diapers, man. Not baby diapers, grown people's diapers. Come on, man. You brought it up, not me. What the hey, man? Holy smokes. Holy smokes. Yeah, I think it's better to find out now than find out 10 years from now that you may have needed to use something else. You may need to use something else other than this, that, A, B, or C. You might need to use D, E, F. But, and I wonder, and it makes me think that they kind of are potentially doing that now without, and I think it's the thing of, can we handle that? I don't think a lot of us, well, I don't think some of us would be able to handle that, and it's kind of that kind of noise that echoes loudly throughout the community channel, that some of us aren't mature enough to deal with that in a way that it would just spark a lot of negativity. I never said it was me, man. Wait a minute, what are you doing? I never said it was me. Holy smokes. Come on. What are you doing? Come on. What are you doing? Come on. Trenton '07 Trent. On my screen. All depends what flavor that is, sir. All depends what flavor that is. And the brand means something too. Branding is everything. I knew you were gonna say it. I knew you were gonna say Blue Belt. Hey, their plant is tremendous, man. That plant, you can get free stuff, and they make experimental stuff that they'll let you sample. Oh, Trent, it's beautiful, isn't it? The force feedback. Yeah, you better bring an extra pair or bring some stretchy pants with you, Scuba Steve. You go there. Um, the force feedback. Yeah, it's stunning, Trenton. I would say if I was to do like a force feedback like that, it would have to be like a sim pit, something like a Monster Tech sim pit type of deal, you know, tricked out. But I would think it's better served for racing, I guess. But yeah, for Star Citizen, here's the thing though, and I thought about it, Trent, and I would say, well, would that hamper if you're a PvPer? Would that deter you being a PvPer? But I want to shout out to Virpil because I had to move and I kind of nipped one of the cables on my sticks. And oh, I gotta do Xeno, Scuba Steve. You know that we're all gonna do Xeno if you're in. I gotta say, yeah, we're on the same page, Trent. What do you no? What are you talking about? I'm so sorry. Oh, the cable, yeah. And this is hence why I'm saying this. And I reached out to Virpil, and they said, I said, hey, I ordered my cables, and did you have any information for me? So they responded, yeah, we have your order, such and such. And they said, hey, as a gesture of goodwill, I'm going to make sure these are shipped out to you immediately, right away. Because they made a big announcement. They had to get the big shipment in, and they were going to disperse all the orders. So I saw that on their X or Twitter channel or something like that. And that's when it prompted me to reach out, and lo and behold, man, they sent them the UPS tracking was right there. It popped up, got the cables, man, and all I can say is Virpil is #1 in my book. I'm gonna put a logo up on there regarding Virpil. I don't get sponsorship from them, but I have to put some sort of support on my channel to say that, man, when it comes to the customer service side of Virpil, excellent, man. They are clearly number one. They are number one, clearly number one. And but their products are great. I mean, their products are not secondary at all. And I just love the fact that they put out quality products, but at the same time, I gotta put their customer service on top of that. So shout out to Virpils. I had to plug that in because it happened. Let's make it happen, Captain. And they did make it happen for me. So shout out to Virpils, man. And the products that they put out, man, it's incredible. I mean, you get what you pay for. You buy their products. It's kind of like you got it for life, right? It's modular. You can, I mean, just look at their websites. And now they're entering, or they're also offering entry-level sticks. And I'm not going to bash nobody's products or say bad things, but I mean, there were sticks that I looked at out that was out there, and people literally had a stream where they were actually fixing them. And I'm like, oh, ooh. And they weren't really cheap though. They were entry level. But yeah, shout out to Virpil. Trent said I had to pay 35 euros just for a spare base bolt. Like, what the heck? I paid it anyways because I was changing out the joystick base springs to the heaviest springs. I didn't know that the bottom of the base can detach from the bottom of the bolt as the bolt was threaded, but I'm happy. As I ordered from Virpil before, they had the U.S. site. Yeah, they're based out of Tampa now, Trent. And I think they just opened an Australia store as well. They just recently opened one in Australia. So their footprint is getting wider, and I'm not surprised. Great products, even better customer service. And that's my spiel. Oh man, my fee is 59K. Damn. Let me see if I still have my stuff.
Vehicle selected.
I lost my
Vehicle
shit.
has been delivered to the following location. Please visit us again.
Yeah, those are good sticks, Scuba Steve. I'm not bashing them at all. They're still good. Those are good ones. Yeah, but what I liked, what set Virpil apart from the two, right, was they're never at rest when it comes to, yeah, we got a good product, we're gonna sit on it, we're happy, we're content. They're always pushing the narrative to be better at what they do. They're always innovating. They're always adding new features. That stands out by far. That's one thing. I was waiting for. I started with VKB, and it felt like I was waiting a long time for their throttle. It finally came out, but I kept looking over across the fence at Virpil. They had the throttle, they had the pedals, they had freaking everything, man. And I said, okay, I'm gonna make that. I'm gonna retire the VKBs and I'm gonna make that splash for the Virpils, and I haven't looked back. But no, by no means at all. The VKBs are a quality product. But I tell you, it takes an act of Congress for a product to come out. But when they do it right. But man, let me tell you, it does not, it pales in comparison to Virpil getting things out there. And I mean, they're constantly grinding, man. And I'm like, holy smokes. The point of it comes full circle what Trent was mentioning about the new bass, the force feedback bass, you know? Excuse me. They are on top of it, man. Their game. They're not resting at all because they know it's a doggy dog world when it comes to sticks, and people can put product out there, and then you realize, okay, I brought a lemon. Whatever this is not what it was. They advertised to me, and you find out the hard way. But with Virpils, man, come on. You buy them, you're good. You can hand them down. If you got kids, that'll be your kids, and you can go and get the primes, and your kids can use your current ones, stuff like that. No cap, no cap, baby, no cap. Oh shit! Let me go back. I need to check my. Oh, let me look at my inventory. I just bypassed. Let me go to the cargo hold. What I love about the Assault, what I really love is, I love the interior design. Damn, I lost my crap. It's gone, and I paid $59K. This is 4.8.3, 4.9, and 4.10. I would say. I can confidently say that 410 should have the fixes for our stuff and saving things. So they got a ways to go as far as inventory. I would say I would not get myself upset about this too much. I mean, because base building is coming. More in-depth crafting is coming. So right now, everything, just consider everything as a placeholder. Just have fun, good casual fun with the game. Don't take it as though it's a finished game. And I know we get into it sometimes. I get into it when it's really rolling on instances of stability, optimizations, and it's just one of the greatest things ever. And then that wall hits you. That wall that hits you that says, "Hey, we're developing." Don't fall into that trap. And I'm sounding like a hypocrite because I fall into it time after time when Star Citizen is hitting on all cylinders, man. It's an experience. It's not a game. It's truly an experience. But we're getting so close now to once they get base building in, right? Once they have viable base building, whether you say it's alpha or not or whatever the case, those are the elements that are going to really define how you play the game. Purpose and necessity, right? It gives you that. It will give you that once we, have base building and the necessity of survival, and not just survive. In some instances, surviving based on the, if the economy is harsh from where you are from your standpoint, going through adversity. But the purpose is, surviving is one, but then thriving and profiting, that's the other. The necessity is survival, but the purpose is to win. And they say there's no such thing as winning in the game. I say the winning aspect of the game is you're profitable, you're able to share wealth, you're able to sustain yourself through adversity. And I think those are the elements that need to be pushed, or eventually will be a part of the day-to-day that is Star Citizen. You're going out in the wild, you're going out to explore things, and I think once we get those 5 systems in, I think that's the platform of where we're going to jump off into what makes this game a true MMO. And of course, Benoit he's got to get that scaling. We got to get it to a point where you can scale this game. And I think once they are there, I just hope that they're ready, because there's going to be so many people just just jumping in the game and really pushing it to its limits. And I think the challenge is the challenge for the developers at CIG is based on its success. The more features they're going to add, the more people will want to play. And that's going to be the challenge for them. Making sure things are up to scale. If not, then it's magnified. The disenchantment, the negativity is going to be magnified, unfortunately, until they can get to a point where they are mitigating, de-escalating, flaming out all the issues with the game, right? The game that is in development, because you don't want to lose that many people. Once you captured their attention and you're pulling them in, you don't want to chase them away, and that's by the system not being robust to handle party members, not being stable or optimized, and this is what I'm saying about post 1.0, having all those elements that will make it a true MMO. But at the same time, I would hope we see that sooner than later. In other words, have a tech preview where you can, CIG, have a tech preview where you can put as many of the the key elements of the game and see how well they play together or interact with each other, and have us just jump in. Just, hey, here it is. This is what this is. And we're watching you report, and we're going to hot fix as much as possible, and then just take it down. If it gets to a point where, okay, the optics are not good right now because we have so many features in, and it's broken. Take it away, give it time to breathe, get the hero teams involved, and then bring it back, and then see what its viability is, and then get the feedback, take it down, take it offline, and continue to do that process till you have something that is presentable or functional. Because when it's getting to a point where it's playable, you look back and say, my God, man, we have all 1.0 features and then some in it. We have a feature complete aspect of this game. And now we get it polished to the point where, hey, this is a viable PTU candidate. Now we just want to scale it up so that we're seeing the people come and go. It's scaling up. And now the framework is PTU, wave 1, 2, 4, all. And then all of a sudden you're going to release it to live. And then I would say rinse and repeat, because 1.0 is not where it stops. But then I would say pause and slow that process down, CIG. Once you're at 1.0, repeat that process, but slow it down to the point of, in regards to process, have what you need to, put into a new tech preview, and really just take your time and really revise and optimize it at your own leisure. You and the hero teams, all things post 1.0. Did you see the video of the new Flyby audio? The Drake Clippers audio gave me shivers. It sounded so amazing. Yeah, I heard about that trend, and I've seen a little clip of it on YouTube. Oh, you're hearing that Virpil is working with CIG? I think I could go with that. I could believe that to an extent, Trent. That when you look at Benoit's setup, what does he have on his freaking sim pit? If you don't know, I'm not going to tell you, chat. You need to find out. Yeah, I could say he's all in, but he's not exclusive. And what I mean by that is, it has everything to do with the community, right? And this is what I love about Star Citizen and the controls and bindings, is that you can go into this game and have a slew or multiple manufacturers' controls, and they come together, merge together to give you the experience that is catered just to you and how you play the game. And I love that about the game. I think that's one of the things we don't really highlight or bring to the forefront as far as the control systems. It's a feat in itself. There's no other game that I've seen where you can take a smorgasbord, a litany of different sticks, combine them together and make it yours. And I think it's the best version of Star Wars New Hope, when you see a jalopy tech on the screen and you see how amazing it is, but it's like junk that's put together. And I think that, man, is that not great in Star Citizen as well? Because there's some sort of integration, or it's like an integration of the video game and actual controls that is kind of has a sci-fi flair to it. Because in real life, wouldn't we be doing that? Like, we would take a hodgepodge of different pieces of tech and make it work together for your everyday use, right? I think that's very cool. One cool aspect of Star Citizen we don't really talk about as much. And I had that pit bull. It started with the damn pit bull not working. Oh, now I gotta do my sticks to disengage the module. I could have disengaged the module and started scouting with the module, but I'm not going to mess with it now. I'm not going to take this thing apart. It's working. Yeah, I just what they've done with this ship, man. I think started a whole slew of ideas with transport and smaller ships, refuel, rearm, repair, having existing bays in these larger ships that it becomes these carriers, and it's all ramping up because the Anvil, what is it, the Liberator is coming out, and then with the advent of what they've done with the Clad and Clad Assault, the Kraken is on its way. That's another big, again, they really got I'm telling you, man, they really understand that there's a super urgency of getting the game ready to scale because IAE is going to be incredibly busy for CIG to the point it's just going to be sickening. The number of people, um, it's going to be the galaxy they're looking at, and it's within a year, right? Because you're going to have IEE in November, first quarter more than likely, 2027. There's going to be they're talking about the Kraken potentially next year, early. If not, it might be the Invictus or the next Defense Con. So I think they're going to double dip on the Defense Con narrative. Uh, Rightfully so. The Kraken and the Privateer. So it's like in the space of potentially 6 to 8 months, there's going to be huge events of people just clamoring to take a look, see, and people getting back into the game because that's one of the ships, or these ships, plural, that they pledged for, mainly the Kraken and the Privateer. And oh my gosh, it's gonna be nuts. It's gonna be freaking nuts that they have no choice but to make a priority of getting things ready just for people wanting to get in the game and fly their ships. And there's quite a few other unannounced ships as well, which is probably predicated on the crafting aspect of the game. And we're getting closer and closer to base building, but more in-depth crafting of ships, sustainable items that you actually use to live with, essentials, solar batteries, solar panels, generators, all the accessories for your base building. Let me go on this side and see if I can get the ramp to go up. I think I can go back and unbrick what is it? Go to a brick version where it has those items. I did see that. Okay, I can leave the ship this way. Oh, right here. Let me go up here. Cargo hold. It was a that catwalk. Outer catwalk. And go back to cargo. Here we go. Exit. Well, it's cold out here. Could be orbit. Okay. So I'm thinking, when do you think we'll see the finishing of Nyx or the added planets to make Nyx a complete system? Would that be September or at latest probably end of year November, maybe? All depends how these next couple of patches are going to be, regards to how stable it is, how it holds up, especially for IE. IE is going to be a big test for them, and they definitely know that they need to be ready for that because that's going to be a big deal. Um, Waiting to see what based on what Benoit was mentioning. He mentioned that they do want to. They feel as though now's the right time to call or potentially create mission givers for derelict ships that are nearby. But I think what they have to do is ensure that there is no I don't want to say the word duping, but some sort of exploit of what do you do, how can you prevent a person from making their ship derelict and then they go and make money off of it. I think there's checks and balances in regards to making sure that there is no exploits on that kind of to make that a feature that's not valid or a part of what Star Citizen wants to see, or CIG. That's something they don't want to see in game. But the expectation is there will be people who will take advantage of that. So they want to ensure that there's no exploits with that. Hence probably why it's taking them a moment and a pause to, just say, okay, we need to look into this and develop it in the right way, as opposed to, okay, here you go. You're free to just, salvage derelict ships that are around or near bases now. I mean, not just, I'm sorry, star bases, right? And just in general, just derelict ships in general. And then probably even further into the development, how do you get them to become mission givers once they are derelicts? And then I think he did mention one of the things that was holding things back, optimizations, or the MFDs were still generating in these derelict ships. So that's another thing to, once a ship goes to a derelict state, how do you ensure that it, MFDs are not submitting information or they continue to be active. So it's good that they were able to find that out, and that's things like that they find it just helps the game all together overall to make it run better. But yeah, we will have derelict ships that will allow us, or they'll just call them if they're so. I think there's a zero radius. Basically, if they're right there in sight of the space station, right? That's what I wanted to say, not the space stations. Then they should call them almost immediately. And then as you get further out in space, and then eventually on planetary bodies or moon surfaces, especially around the freight elevators that you do missions with, you probably want to call those immediately anyway, because I've seen where derelict ships are placed there to kind of hinder mission givers or hinder people who need to complete missions by depositing cargo into those freight elevators planet side on the surface of moons. So zero proximity to points of interest, I think it should be called immediately. And then spaces between, after a few minutes, create mission givers, and even set up timers. If you're quite a distance away, you have a timer to get there. Once you get there, and then if you're not there in time, the mission is pulled and the ship is called. In other words, deleted. Called is as far is deleted basically. If you're not there immediately, and you're not prepared once you take the mission, and they give you so many minutes, and you scramble to get there. If you're not there, it gets called. I think that's a challenge in itself, and there's a fraction of like there's some sort of adrenal rush of I gotta hurry up and get there because if I don't get in close proximity, Unknown Ghost 07. Good. I'm pretty good. How are you, Unknown? If you don't get there fast enough, then hey, it's removed. Awesome. How was your fourth, Unknown? We're just talking a little bit about the new features and potentially as they go further into these features, they're going to be more complex, much more of a footprint on how we interact with it. These are going to be huge game-changing pieces that's coming prior to the 1.0 development process. A lot of these patches are going to be so important. Here's one that's, I think, for me, it's all right, but for a lot of you, this is like the core of what a MMO is to you all, and that is the social tools. I'm not a big MMO person. I'm not saying it's a dislike. I haven't really played MMO games, right? And I'm not an expert on it, but I understand the elements of what it takes to make an MMO, and I totally get why you're all excited about the social tools. For me, I just like the sausage that's being made, the server meshing aspect, the scaling, the economy system, how it will interact and dictate what we need to do. That just floats my boat. But I totally get it with the social tools aspect and why that's so important to you all, because what you do in Discord, how you communicate. But when you're talking about dedicating yourself and putting yourself into the game and immersing yourself, not just you, and that's the aspect of why it's so important, that when you talk about Star Citizen, you're talking about playing as an org, playing with your teammates, and going all in and making this not just a video game, but a video game experience. And when it gets to that point, you want to make sure that you're able to speak to your teammates, you're able to, in real time, communicate not with just one person, but as a group. And also the tools to back it up to make sure you're organized. You have teams or orgs that are so organized to the extent that the social tools would just make everything so much easier. Now, granted, within the social tools, I would love to see something where you have profit sharing. You don't have to do the math yourself to make sure it's right. But you team up as an org, and then you share your profits. The social tools would be a part of that and make sure that things are equally dispersed. Okay, one side, I think the starboard side of the ramp is not good. I think that's same for the port side. The ramp access is bugged. I'm gonna put a report in for that. See, that's bugged. I'm calling it and it's not working. So that's probably already a known bug. So the only way to get this going, let me try this ladder. That's the only way to access the ship. That's cool, where you can walk out here. wind effects. Weird. Both sides, no close. I can't do my secret AUVC giveaways. Oh my gosh. Yeah, yeah, I gotta report on this. I see. It's probably already known. Look at operations. Take a look at operations. I'm still in the process of settling in and doing things. I don't quite have my my scheduling down, but I definitely miss you all. But I'm working towards getting myself once I'm settled. I'm not settled in. Still a lot of moving parts for me. Yeah, I haven't played SC in a while due to the issues. Yeah, and I think Unknown Ghost, that's fine because it gives you, it helps give you clarity on what's better with Star Citizen compared to the state it's in now. And I think once they really dive in and get after what needs to be getting taken care of, and again, it's so many features. I think it's good enough that you can look and see what the progress is because they're moving. They're to be honest, they're moving pretty quickly. I think this is the fastest they've been moving. And then we also have to factor in the fact the team from Squadron 42 is soon moving over to the Persistent Universe. And that in itself is going to be a huge and a really big deal because now sitting on that 6 mil, nice. That's a good problem to have. In regards to, more people coming in to Star Citizen. And here's the other thing. Microsoft has been laying it's crazy, man. Speaking of Microsoft and production and progress and CIG has a lot of employees, and I think they're looking to ramp up with even more talent, right? And you look at Microsoft, I kind of saw that coming though. They were buying up all these studios, which to me it didn't make any sense. And now they're in this massive layoff period. It's ridiculous, man. Their whole goal was to buy up all these small studios, devour up these studios, and for what? They're not even producing anything. Now they're laying off so many people. I think this is prime time for, CIG to consider adding more talent. But at this point, they can be very, not to say that they weren't picky. I don't know. Don't take this the wrong way. They can just look for a niche and specific skill sets that's going to really help with the development track of what they're working on. And maybe some things they weren't thinking of. I mean, I think there's going to be opportunities for these ex-Microsoft employees to come work with Cloud Imperium Games, right? And really help to broaden and to solidify what needs to be done. And especially, I think why I'm excited about that is you have Benoit who can do the interviews along with Chris, of course. They're doing the interviews and they will know, they definitely know that what they're looking for. And that potential is going to be there for them to kind of say, hey, this is the talent we're looking for, and they're looking, you know, they're looking for a job, they're looking for stability, they're looking for longevity, right? These ex Microsoft employees, and I think it's a win-win. But at the same time, as I said before, you have the people coming over from Squadron, and now they're going to really, really get back to making Persistent Universe something special now that they're done with Squadron 42. Telestrad '07. They purchased the core components of the programming ecosystem, naturally, have failed to maintain the security of that ecosystem. Yep, Sony. Sony is pulling the plug with Bungie. I know that Sony, Microsoft, they're pulling. I mean, it's like it doesn't make any sense. So so now it's too late for them. New things will come. Who is Celestri? Who are you referring to when you say they purchased the core components of the programming ecosystem? Spry one, Sony going all digital. I heard. Yeah, yeah. I mean, yeah. I think a lot of people are, you know, like the data centers, and can you imagine? And I would say it's predicated on data centers, right? Oh, the owner of the GitHub. Holy smokes. Oh, wow. Yeah, I think there's something to be said about cloud technology and things going digital. And also, you got to think about the prices of memory right now. People, you can't even buy a PC right now. I mean, holy smokes, man. I don't know what's going on, but it's insane. The level that, I mean, holy smokes, the price of memory is crazy. And GPUs and CPUs, it's insane. So the way out for the viability is probably going to be rested on a new version of a data center, right? A variant of the data center where it's based upon this game you're playing, and it's all online, and you don't have to have this massive computer. You can have a module or a low tech piece of hardware just to connect your controls to, connect your display to, and then, you know, connect your internet, and hell, you're in, right? So I think there's something to be said about that. But I think you're going to see a hybrid of that system first and foremost before it goes all digital, or like a variant of the data center, right? Because right now, cloud is out there, is viable. It's cloud computing and things of that nature, and AI being incorporated to make sure that it's optimized and plays well. So yeah, I think it could be just a monthly subscription you would utilize, and you have, you know, 40K, 100 frames per second, constant, you know, that's it. And you just pay for your peripherals, your controls, and just have at it and have a good time. Pretty much. But yeah, I think this is a good thing for CIG, because I've said this, and I think it still resonates today. I've said this probably years ago, and I haven't swayed from it. The game is dictating what it needs to all of us. I mean, if you take the time and listen, the game is telling us what it needs. We got to be able to push past 100 per server. We gotta have thousands per server. We gotta have an economy. We gotta make this simulate real life. We gotta have a base. We gotta have an economy that punches us in the nose, and we gotta figure out what to. We get bloodied, and we gotta figure out how do we work around this. How do we fix things? How do we survive? How do we connect and be able to orchestrate missions within orgs and groups? How do we continue to have random experiences, but at the same time curated experiences that will allow us to jump in and go right instantly into the adventure or the mission in itself? But at the same time, being able to be at your home, and it feels like a virtual home where you're doing day-to-day chores and tasks and things to prepare for the next mission. I think they have some core elements, but I think as they lean in towards those concepts and kind of rip the Band-Aid off and push it more into what does that look like with the engine running, and the tech preview, I think, is the solution, or at least the insight into the vision of, is this viable? Will it work? And it's a collaboration between CIG and the community as well via the tech preview channel, in order to make sure that all the concepts and things that we were hearing about, that's on the roadmap, does it really work, or is it another experience like 3.18 or the 4.8, I guess, 4.18 or something, or the 4, I get it mixed up now. But you know, the patches that leads to catastrophic results, I think that's something for the tech preview, because they have to move faster with people literally kicking down the doors to want to play, and they cannot. And then you don't want to lose them. You want to keep them incorporated into the development and the game as well. It's a simultaneous experience. You're playing and it's being developed. That's the reality, right? But then you have to separate out the results, and that's the problem. The results are integrated into the game itself when you use these concepts or these experimental features that you're going to say it's going to be part of the MMO experience that is Star Engine. You want to separate the results, and the best way to separate those results is basically moving that result over to tech preview, so then there's no expectation in regards to this needs to be stable and viable and playable, and my experience is my game experience isn't shot to me putting in the effort, and then things go awry, and then I lose everything that led to me putting time into it. The results of it is nothing. So when you separate those results, I think the expectations are lessened, and the anxieties and frustrations are lessened as well, because then you have two viable pieces that will say, okay, you and your friends, this is the expectation of the experience, it's live. Over here is play at your own risk, but this is the future of Star Citizen, because we are actually, we've actually incorporated a lot of the features that was concept, and we're pushing to get them to work together very well. And at some point, you'll see this amalgamation, this whole conglomerate of what these new features are. Once they hit PTU, then you know for a fact that it's closer to moving into the live main branch. But it's more features, more experimental things, more things that are conducive to the MMO. That is the tech preview. I think there has to be a rebirth of the channel that is Tech Preview. It has to be more viable than PTU in the sense of it's going to allow Benoit to exhale and to really not incrementally and fractionally move towards his development track, because I think he's bottlenecked a little bit himself because he's moving in micro stages. Whereas when you think about Star Citizen, you can't fractionally see it in micro views. The whole concept that Chris pitched to us was this universe, this galaxy, these galaxies, this universe. And it went from concept to this is what it has to be as far as a technical experience or a technical engine that will sustain that concept. So Tech Preview has to exist in real time, warts and all, sausage being made. Okay, the fat and the flesh and the grinding and the ice going through the meat grinder and the casing being caught up in it. Yeah, it has to be the Tech Preview. And you enter in, you're going to see blood, you're going to see innards, you're going to see organs. It's going to be gory. But for those who really are looking to push this into, or push those features towards 1.0 and beyond, you know what the narrative is. And so I think it will lessen the negative feedback, because with live, it will be, I think, the most pristine and clean and playable version of Star Citizen. And so you get bored, just take your ass over to Tech Preview if you're bored, because that's where all the new features will be. But enter at your own risk. But then that's where the middle ground should be your PTU, where it's more polished. It may not have all those experiences or features from the Tech Preview because they're not quite ready, but it has more features than the live version, which then at some point it's going to migrate over to the live side of it. I think that will be, what do you call the Trinity, the Star Trinity. Chris, do not repeat this. Chris Roberts, you cannot use this. The Star Trinity. Tech Preview, PTU, and live. Yes, that's how you're gonna do it. But I'm gonna stop here. I got an early day. I want to get more into a time schedule with you all, but I'm back. Shout out again to Virpil. If you don't know what I was talking about, check out the video earlier. I was talking about Virpil gave him props, but yeah, I'm gonna jump back in. We're gonna do Captain Steve. We got to do the Siege of Orison for sure, but let's be patient and understand that we are pushing, and they are working to accommodate us. It's just that there's just been an influx of people jumping back into the game, and without a doubt, they're working towards scaling this thing up. And I think it will give them the springboard to change these processes. I'm hoping they base it off of that idea I threw towards them, or just that suggestion of making the Tech Preview a constant viable niche for all features that are ready to go in, so that Benoit can actually be the maestro that he is born to be, of that symphony that is in Chris Roberts' mind, his brain. Let him orchestrate and let him work the concerto of all Chris's concepts, and then some of the things that we suggested as well. It's Tech Preview, and PTU is more of, hey, the polish is coming. These parts of the new features that came over from Tech Preview, these are the viable candidates that will upgrade the live experience, and then wave ones, wave whatever's, wave all, and then it's over into the persistent universe as a live and captured piece of the engine. Mission givers, they're free to do whatever, but I think if it's tech laden, like a Siege of Orson that has aspects of using server meshing, then it also belongs in tech preview until it's ready. And I think this is, you know, what we see with 4.9 and what is it, 4.10 is the next patch. It's kind of like that where they're doing this separation. So have channels that will separate these features, but allow these features to mature together and see how they are working together. And then, you know, once you have enough data, pull tech preview and just, it doesn't have to always exist, but give it some longevity and make it a viable candidate for bringing in features that work and interact with each other based upon what the star engine is. So with that, I've stopped the yap. I'm gonna give a hearty 07. Good seeing you all. I'll be back soon. I'm working on the schedule, so getting things organized. But yeah, I'll get there. We'll get there. Oh, 07. Love you all. All the best. See you on the next one. Let's make it happen, Captain.